In other news, the Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz said today that the coronavirus lockdown measures could start being eased as of next week. However, the Chancellor said the lifting of restrictions would come in stages. Well, it's currently compulsory there in Austria for anyone entering a supermarket to cover their mouth and nose, and that rule is set to be extended next week to all other shops and also to public transport. Austria has had more than 12,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19, as well as 204 deaths. Well, let's get the latest now from France 24's Anthony Mills in Vienna. Anthony, it seems quite early in the day and early in our experience of COVID-19. Is Austria really ready to lift these measures, do you think?
What the Chancellor has said is that if we see a continuation over the next week of the current trend, which is bringing down that expansion in daily increases to what he sees as being a manageable level, and if the Austrians and the people living here remain, in his words, disciplined, then in a week, next Wednesday, in fact, or Tuesday, then some measures will be lifted. And the reason he says is that Austria acted fast early. He says Austria was one of the first European countries to impose a very restrictive clampdown with only serious reasons among those that were necessary for people to leave their houses. And he said that that has paid off. It has brought that expansion rate down in terms of new infections. It's kept intensive care cases down. And he says that's why they are going to be able to lift some of those restrictions. But it's far from a return to normal, of course. This is a staggered return, only small shops opening.
OK, Anthony, what's the sort of feeling about how the Austrian government has handled this crisis overall? Because looking at that death rate, just 204 deaths since the crisis began, that's a low number. So they've obviously done something right.
Absolutely. The Chancellor and his party in particular, the Conservative Party here, riding really high in the polls. The majority, the vast majority of Austrians support the restrictive course of action he took, the seriousness with which he treated COVID-19 early on, even though these measures have been restrictive. At the end of the day, they see the numbers, they see those numbers coming down, and certainly there is a diminishing to an extent of the fear factor here in Austria. So he's got a lot of support. On the other hand, though, there was a sense that there's only so long that you can impose those kinds of restrictions, and he will have had to balance those two sentiments quite strategically against each other.
OK, well, thank you very much indeed for that update. From Vienna, France 24's Anthony Mills. Thank you so much.